when my first son, I've always said I'm not gonna never treat my son or beat my son, or it's a certain way to chastise your kid without using the stitching cord,
Yeah.
without verbally calling him and all of this other shit.
Without murdering their soul. Without murdering their souls.
Yeah. Well, that's what he tried to do to me. But what he did to me, he made me stronger than he thought he did. Because now I realize I don't need a father. I got the homies. I'm good. And I had to show the homies that I can be aggressive. I learned from the best how to be aggressive. You know what I'm saying? So with my kids, my first son,
By the
it
way,
was
how old
always
were
a
you?
conversation. Well, when my first son,
Yeah.
19.
19 years old. Okay. Out of high school?
Yeah.
Did you graduate high
I
school?
quit school. No. I didn't have a chance for no high school. No, I wasn't going. I went to school to gangbang. I didn't go to school for learning. So, I mean, that was just me at that time. That was the 1980. When I got in high school, I didn't have time for that. My whole life was being aggressive, proving to everybody that I was that one with the business. I had to be in the middle of it all, you know, uh, regardless. So even with my gang ties and all of that, with my first son being born, I went to prison. He was 1 year old. I went to prison. He was 3.5 when I got out of prison. And, him coming to prison and saying, that's my dad was the biggest thing for me. It made me feel good. Until this day, I got three. I got 2 sons and a daughter. And I try to teach them the difference, you know what I'm saying, of what's right and what's wrong. But sometimes I don't know if I overtalk or whatever, but both of my boys went to college. Both of my sons did good. None of them wear earrings. None of them sag their pants. Both of my sons are good. Today, I have a daughter incarcerated because my daughter wanted to be like her dad. My daughter wanted to be like her mom's. And it's crazy saying it because I thought my son, my oldest son, was going to be a product of me because he was there. He's seen it. And it was hard growing up trying to be a man and didn't know how to be a man. I didn't know how to be a man, let alone being a father with the odds against me already, because I couldn't lay my colors down. I couldn't deny the homies. If they came and knocked on the door, I was gone. You know what I'm saying? I'd be back. So that took me away from being a father. You know what I'm saying? But I got good relationships with my sons. Whether if I talk to them every day or every other day, but they understand. I didn't have to whoop their ass for them to understand what it is to be a man. And one day you're gonna be a father. So, you know, having a father in my household was reckless. It was reckless, man. And you know, I prefer not to have one. I prefer not to have a father. And when I found out who my father was, he was also on the motorcycle set. And I joined the motorcycle club to connect with him. You know what I'm saying? So it was cool, but that just brought out my gang mentality, being on the motorcycle set, being in an outlaw club, the whole nine. But yeah, my pops was reckless.
So
And
let me ask you this. Not just the violent side of your father, interacting with women. How did having an abusive father, seeing your mother be abused, how did that transcend into your adult relationships with your women?
I learned, and whether I knew it or not, I had some of his traits. I couldn't stand a woman. A woman couldn't do shit, couldn't tell me. And that, let's say my mom's, there was a time just game banging. My mom's was all kind of and stupid. I called her every name in the book because I watched her allow my father do her the way he did, and there was no repercussion on nothing. And she come from 9 brothers. And I listened to her lie to her brothers and like it wasn't nothing. So I guess one day she was fed up and sat in the chair. And when that motherfucker walked to the door, she shot his ass in the ear. Oh, I was the happiest kid on the planet. Oh, I got to get me a gun. So, I seen both sides. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I seen both sides of my mother and my father. I seen what she was about, but my mom had that love for him that she sat right there and allowed him to do what he did to her son, and it hurt me more because I thought she was there to protect me. If the Papa Bear want to eat all the cubs, Mama gonna fight Papa Bear. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna kill my kids. We see this in the wild. I didn't see this in my mother. I didn't see this. I see my father really try to kill me, like busting holes up in my head. I carried 18 stitches in my head from him just using whatever he can find to take his aggression out on me.
See,
You know
man,
what I'm saying?
I'm sitting here thinking, you was a kid. Most kids had no business fighting you because of the rage that you harbored on the inside. The violence that's been projected against you as a kid, the average kid hadn't had that projected upon them. And when they run across you, they in trouble because you got something inside of you.
They were so in trouble. Even my brothers, even my sisters. I didn't know how to play in a normal kind of way. I
Yeah,
always had to be
you're a
aggressive.
gangster. Yeah.
And we out playing with knives, and I split my brother lip because I'm like serious and trying to get him, and I cut his lip down straight down the middle. Um, my little brother, my sister, I didn't know how to punch soft, so I find myself busting her nose. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't play with me. They wouldn't play with me. Now taking it to the hood, you know, I had to be aggressive so they can know that I was aggressive. If this is how we gonna play, you're gonna bring 100, I'm gonna bring 120. I don't have a choice. I have to prove myself. And I was willing to go all the way till that point to prove who I was and how I felt about anybody that thought that they can disrespect or hurt me. I wouldn't gonna let it happen. You know what
Now,
I'm saying? That's
James,
the only thing. Yeah.
this Uncle Hen, I got a quick question. I know we talked, like if you had a chance to tell a young you something, right? What would you have
Yeah.
done? What would you have done with that to that 19-year-old man and everything that was going on? If somebody could have reached out to you, because if it's a young man that's going through this right now, and I want you to speak to both the dad that's beating on the kid, and I want you to also speak to that kid who may be going through that. What were some of the things you wish you would have did or somebody would have done to help you in that particular situation?
It's a lot of things that I wish could have happened. At 19, I was already off the chain, off the hook. I was in the hood. So at that point, I didn't need a father or mother or nothing. I had the homies. And I had to think like that because I didn't have to go home. I didn't have to go back to their house. I was in at the homies or laying up with a broad. But if a kid is out there that's going through what I went through, it's nothing you can really tell him because he got to see the situation for what it is. 17, 16, 15. And you got to get out of there. You got an opportunity to get the on. He ain't gonna beat you 24 hours a day. You can run. I didn't run. The only time I ran is when I got webs all over my body, bleeding through my t-shirt, and I ran away. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing you can really tell a kid, but the dad. There's a lot of fathers out there that's frustrated with themselves, like my pops was. He was frustrated within himself, and he took a situation, and he felt that he had to bring that to me, opposed to how I felt. I got to give it to somebody else. I don't have to give it to my siblings. I need to give it to these cats out here. My pops took his aggression out on me. You at a motorcycle club. You in a club. Take it out on your club brothers, and then come home. uh, you know, a lot of men have problem with a lack of money, you know, a lack of not understanding themselves, you know what I'm saying, or you know, really not feeling like they're providers or whatever. So the first thing they do is try to find a way out of the situation,
Yeah.
try to
Right.
find a way not to
Yeah.
be a father.
Right.
And you know, that's not the way to go. And all I wanted, you know, like I said, I had 9 uncles, and all I wanted was one of them to just say, "Come on, you stand over here. Well, if you ever touch my nephew again, we gonna have a problem." But my situation, my mom's and them tried to keep that in-house secret bullshit, and it wasn't until
The other
I
day.
started running away when they start saying, "You ain't finna be doing him like that. He too little to go through this." And then he wound up disappearing, falling off. But it's hard for men out there today, and especially back then, because you know he was in a motorcycle club, he was doing the PCP, which later turned into crack cocaine. He was introduced to all that different, but I can't even give him credit for that because before he started the cocaine, he was whooping my ass on alcohol.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Now,
Yeah.
did he have a
So
father? Did he have a father? Do you think maybe his problem
no,
was his relationship? He didn't have a father neither, so maybe it started there with him. Do you think that may have been the
well,
problem?
yeah, a lot of it had to do with it, but at some point he had to break the chain. His
Right.
father was in Texas. You know what I'm saying? Live in Texas. Father had ranches and all that out there. And he also has a family. His wife, my pop's wife, is in Texas with 5 kids. And then he had 5 kids by my mom's. So he was living a double life pretty much going back and forth, but he was basically here. So a lot of that could have played a part in how he got down, but you can't excuse that because you only took it out of one instead of five. You didn't beat on five, you beat on one.
Yeah.
So I see his reasons for doing what he did to me was not cause for because I didn't want nobody else to get here.
Yeah. Didn't even ask to
You
be
got
here.
those, yeah, you got that problem with my mom. So why? Because I'm the black sheep, you feel it ain't mine. I'm gonna beat the shit out of him every time I look at him. You know, he used to tell me, "I just hate you."
So
Damn. Like, man,
at one point, because all of us as sons, whether that's with mom, whatever we feel like mom did or didn't do, at one point, did you say, man, I gotta forgive this nigga so I can move on? I gotta quit resenting this nigga. I did it when I buried daddy, right? Mama called me and said, boy, you know, they say Charles Reed, they say your daddy died. I said, oh, okay, mama, and hung up and had no emotions about it. The next morning she
I was the
called.
same way.
The next morning she called and said, boy, now you might want to get down there and see about your dad. They say he got a whole bunch of money left in the bank. Now I want to be his son now. You know what I'm saying? Now I show how that's my daddy. Nigga has some money in the bank.
Man,
That's my daddy. So
I kept it 100. I didn't want nothing from that dude. I didn't want nothing to remember that dude by. You know, he died in Texas and in Brady. And my grandfather asked me to go to the funeral. He wanted me to drive to Texas for him. And I drove him and the family. We all went to Texas. They had his services. I stayed outside. I'm not finna play the hypocrite. I'm not finna play like I love this dude. I'm not finna pretend like I feel for his death. I didn't. I didn't give a him or his mama. I didn't give a and right now today I can honestly tell you I don't give a if they dead or not. It didn't bother me at all. But he came and apologized right before he died. He came to Compton. He sat down and wanted to talk. And he said, "I'm sorry. I know the things I did to you were wrong, but I want to apologize. I want to make it right. How can I make it right?" I actually looked at him. It's too late to make it right. You can't make it right. But I accept your apology. And I only accepted the apology because my mother was a church woman, and she said, "You can't. If you don't forgive him, you'll never be right." And I forgave him on that aspect. Uh, The hatred I had for my mom's went for years. Went for years. The last 2 years of her life, I took care of her. And within that time, you know, she apologized to me and I accepted it with open arms. That's my mom's. And now I understand why she stood back. Now I understand why she couldn't help me because she was afraid of it.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt love from either one of them?
No, no.
I can't imagine that, my nigga. I can't
Why
imagine.
not?
Because I come from a loving mother. So I'm listening to your story as you know, coming from a traditional single parent home, never listening to your story. I'm watching a movie because I can't imagine that. I can't imagine a kid having his head bust open with 18 stitches. I can't imagine a man coming home punching a boy and beating on him like a man. And I'm telling myself, what can a boy tell himself where he can endure that? Well, you know what I'm saying? What can a kid tell himself where he can persevere through that, man, and get up and go to school the next day? Right. You see what I'm saying? How can a kid endure that? How can a kid, you see what I'm saying? What do you?
I found outlets. I found other ways to cope with it. Like going in the house. I would go in the house. I would go in the bathroom. Then I go in the room. I try to stay out of his way. I didn't want to be seen by him. If he see me, he gonna grab me. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I wanted to stay at my people's house. I didn't want to go home. You know what I'm saying? Summertime was the best time of my life because I can go spend the summer with my cousins and then have to deal with him, period. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like I said earlier, I had to find a way to get out of this situation. Trying to and wanting and thinking about killing my father was the only thing I can come up with. But I was too goddamn scared to say, okay, I'm gonna do it. I gotta kill him. It's too many months. I don't want to go to jail. I'm too young for that. They're gonna put me in jail. I lose my life if I go to jail. I didn't know what to expect. So I didn't try that. I didn't go there. So my only way was to stay away.
So you're a
To stay away.
grandfather, that's correct? You're a grandfather
Yeah.
as well as a father. What's the
Yeah.
difference in grandfather role and daddy role?
Being a grandfather, I do everything with my grandson that I miss with my boys because I was in the streets. And everything I do with my grandson, and I've been having him for 3 years now, just me and him, teaching him
How
his
old is he?
colors. He 4 years old now.
Okay.
I got him when he was 1. My daughter went to jail, was going through some situations. The people tried to take him. I told him I don't want my grandson growing up in no white house with no white people, and they do what they want to do to him. That ain't happening. So they wouldn't give him to me because of my record. Mind you, I've been out of prison since 1988, and here they are telling me I'm not fit to raise my seed. You know what I'm saying? My grandson. So we went through that. 6 months into my sister having him, I got him. Now I'm going to all the little court things, and I'm taking my daughter and to her classes, her mother classes, and all of this shit. I'm actually doing the father deed. And I feel good by it. I really feel good by it because I gave to my kids before I came out here and want to speak on a platform. I gave to my kids. Now I'm trying to show them I can raise this little dude. So now I got a baby that I'm buying all this different shit for, and I gotta clothe him. I gotta feed him every day. I gotta get on my damn knees and bathe him. And now he's talking to me. Now he's saying, "Papa, I wash the dishes at 4." Papa, you know what I'm
He's seeing
saying?
a man. Because he's seeing a man. He's
So
mimicking what he's seeing.
it's a hell of a experience, you know, raising him because now everything I did with my other boys and I missed, I'm doing it with him. I take him fishing. If I grab the drill, because we just moved in the house, me and him, and I'm putting his toys and all of this shit together. Papa, let me help you. And I'm teaching him. At first it was like, no, boy, get away. No, I remember when my grandfather said, come here, grab that, turn that. And
Yeah.
this is what I'm doing with my
Yeah. Give me that.
grandson. And he's learning.
This is it's a lot of people that's gonna watch this, right? So I use different terms that the elected officials and criminal justice and your judges and your probation officers can relate to, right? For one, the story you just told us, it represents redemption, right? You just took us down a path of redemption. When you talk about your grandchildren, what you missed out on your son, well, you get your restoration from your grandchildren. You get to become a father, even though you're grandfather. What you missed out on with your children, you're being restored through your grandchildren because you was redeemed. You don't walk the path of redemption. So this is what, man, this is what I want to show to people. Homie, this how you get back what you lost in life. Getting on this path right here. This how you get all back what you think you lost from the streets, man. It'll come back to you. But you got to go redeem something, man. You got to go right wrongs. Let me see.
Get rid of that curse.
Yeah, get rid of that curse, man. So just to have you know.
Well, you know, a lot of us,
go ahead.
A lot of us brothers think that, a lot of us, you know, black men, us brothers think that we have to carry this persona. We have to be this gangster. We have to be this hard. Some things in me, I can't change.